We're doing a floor video today. We're floor people now. Ignore my pile of clothing there. I didn't put it away. The Scholastic Book Fair is a cornerstone in American education, the 1 week a year where kids actually care about books. Whether it be your Diary of a Wimpy Kids or your uncomfortable graphic novels about 9/11, the book fair has a wide selection of literature. I also have a lot of fond memories of book fairs of days past, so I figured I would look at one now and compare it to what I remember. So let's do that. Unfortunately, by the time I decided to make this video, it seems everything was picked a little clean, especially in the things barely related to books section of things. If you've ever been to a book fair, you already know the novelty toys are the pillar on which the book fair stands proudly on. Between your funny pointer fingers, your chocolate calculators, or your
spy gadgets,
this is definitely where I've seen students spend most of their time, and that was true 10 years ago for me as well. Unfortunately, the only spy gear I really saw this year was an invisible ink pen, to the dismay of every teacher everywhere, I presume. By the time I looked around, most of the pointer fingers were gone, and that was what I was mostly after. I ended up with this rainbow one, which is still a pointer finger for sure. I have very distinct memories of nearly every student in my second grade class purchasing a pointer finger, whereas I was only allowed to get a book, so I consider this vindication. The chocolate calculator in particular was a little wild to see, mostly because I remember buying the exact same one in the exact same box nearly 10 years ago, so to see it using the same packaging still was a little surreal, to say the least. The buttons are a little hard to press, but as the name may imply, it does smell vaguely of chocolate. I remember trying to use one like this in math class, and it is impractical. The smell does not outweigh how much force it takes just to press the button. There was a lot of focus on this small green creature. I don't know what his deal is, but I don't trust him. They had a huge selection of posters, which I don't really remember the book fairs of old having. But I was immediately fixated on this Epic Gamers Wanted poster. I don't know what they're wanted for, but if they're gamers, it's probably worthy of the death sentence. It's a little beat up because it's been sitting in the trunk of my car, but as for the books themselves, they were fine, I guess. I mean, I'm not exactly what most folks would call well-read, but none of the books really jumped out at me. And before anyone says that I'm not the target audience, I do want to point out they did have a section called Adult Bestsellers, which is unfortunately named, but all of those books were boring as well. There were quite a few young adult novel series that I didn't really recognize. The last time I was at a book fair, the Hunger Games series was still the relevant young adult novel, so I guess I haven't really kept up with that. Obviously, I had to check out the Gamer's Delight section, which had some real winners. The entire Diary of a Minecraft Zombie series at a steal of a price, expert Minecraft hacks that they won't teach you anywhere else, even books about Bendy in the Ink Machine, which is a franchise I have heard of. Also a Hello Neighbor book, which I didn't think existed. I don't know what that franchise even is at this point. It is a little wild to see Diary of a Wimpy Kid releases still hitting the shelves, considering I remember being at a book fair when that series was new. But good for Jeff. If I could make the same thing over and over and make infinite money, I would do it in a heartbeat. One thing I was honestly pretty surprised to see was K-pop representation. Doesn't exactly strike me as book related, but I did see a lot of kids gravitating towards this particular section. It was kind of lumped in the corner with the everything else section of things. Random trapper keepers, phone cases, inspirational notebooks, the works. One thing I was pretty bummed to not see were the computer games. I have very vivid memories of going to the book fair and just ogling the video game section. I'm pretty sure the book fair is where my brother got his copy of Roller Coaster Tycoon 2, which I played endlessly in between Club Penguin sessions. May those penguins rest in peace. I don't know when they stopped selling video games, but I did find a flyer from 2009 which listed not just PC games, but DS, Wii, and PS2 games as well. I'm sure there's someone out there who's treating their Scholastic exclusive Barbie Horse Adventures disc as a collector's item. It'll be worth something someday, champ. I also found an article from 2009 where people were complaining about the book fair selling video games, so that might be relevant. I ended up leaving with the Epic Gamers Wanted poster, the Among Us book, this impractical flamingo pen that doesn't seem to write very well, the UV camera light, the chocolate calculator, the rainbow pointer finger, and this, thing. While it was heartbreaking to not see any cool spy gadgets or computer games, it was still pretty nostalgic to see everything laid out in this really familiar way. It was definitely a little weirder now that I'm taller than the shelves, but with all the students buying things in mass quantities, things were selling out pretty quickly. It's still pretty clear that middle schoolers really, really look forward to the book fair week. Did I mention I worked at the middle school library? It's a middle school library. I work in a middle school library. I hope you enjoyed this attempt at something a little different. The opportunity arose, and I figured it would be a nice, cozy look at something that most people probably don't get to see anymore. Like, I can't imagine, unless you're a student or a parent, that you get to go to a book fair. So, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you did in the comments below. And if you didn't, don't let me know in the comments below. Alright, bye.